This episode is brought to you by Diet Coke. You know that moment when you just need to hit pause and refresh? An ice-cold Diet Coke isn't just a break. It's your chance to catch your breath and savor a moment that's all about you. Always refreshing, still the same great taste. Diet Coke. Make time for you time.
Where's your playlist taking you? Down the highway? To the mountains? Or just into daydream mode while you're stuck in traffic? With over 4,000 hotels worldwide, Best Western is there to help you make the most of your getaway, wherever that is. Because the only thing better than a great playlist is a great trip. Life's the trip. Make the most of it at Best Western. Book direct and save at bestwestern.com.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson, and we are part of the College Huddle Podcast Network. And this episode, as always, is brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy. Go see Jeremy. Shelton sliding in at the last possible second. What happened in the game?
Took a fat L.
Close L?
A fat L.
Close L, but it sucked.
Good.
That's the worst of the afternoon specials.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Said the worst of the afternoon specials.
The worst of the afternoon specials. Well, gentlemen, welcome to Thanksgiving week 2024. Also known on this podcast as Hate Week, because obviously Saturday night, 8 o'clock, will be UVA versus our beloved Hokies. Yep, I'm drinking tonight, y'all. So the loop's not going to be as sealed. Not going crazy like I will in about 3 weeks, but let's just say it's happening tonight. As we were
Josh, is this a reference to us or the team?
Or Saturday night, whichever one you want to count.
Hey.
Sheldon, you were in person, so we look forward to your insight. Well, first of all, did you have a good time regardless of outcome?
I did have a good time. I was at the game with one of my Duke buddies and one of his VT buddies, so we had a good time. I saw some of the Suns people, some of my former Charlotte peeps, so it was a good time, man. I'm just it was good to kind of just be with my friends and everything. Like, I didn't really have super high expectations, and turns out that those expectations were justified. So, yeah, I mean, the product on the field is what it is. I'm just here to see my friends and enjoy a night out watching football, and I got that. So,
all right. Well, glad to hear you had a good time, regardless of outcome of the game. Obviously, you sent us a few texts while you were in there. about some stuff going on and everything.
Yeah. That should not be put on this podcast.
Oh no. That is behind lock and key.
Hey, Wallace Wade has that Wi-Fi though. You can get those texts out with regularity.
There's a statement number one. Shelton got not only one text out, Shelton got about 7 or 8 texts out during the course of the game because of good Wi-Fi. That's another thing to bitch about. But let's get into it. We are going to know the enemy. We're going to look a little bit at UVA. We're going to always go big screeners. Some other news and notes as well, some things breaking. Obviously, I want to look at the playoff rankings. But we got to start with what did take place, what Shelton witnessed in living color, live and alive Saturday night, a 31-28 loss to Duke. Another late November loss to a Carolina team by 1 score. And if you're keeping record at home, Brent Pry is now 1 and
12.
13.
12.
1 and 12. 13 games, Brian, that have been decided by 1 score in his tenure here. That is right now right at 1/3 of the games he's played. 1 and 12. And it sucks. So I'm not even going to be beat around the bush. I always like to say usually what went well first. I'm not in that mood tonight. In y'all's opinion, Brian, actually Shelton, you want to start us off? You saw it, and I'm sure you did some data digging. What went bad Saturday night?
Well, first and most obvious is just the explosive passing plays. I mean, it sounded like from what Price said in the post game, they had some coverage busts, some safeties made bad reads. On one of I think the second touchdown by Duke, or maybe no, it was the third big passing play that's up, the third touchdown before the end of the first half. Dante Lovett just fell down. So, I mean, nothing you're going to do but just shake your head there. So, I mean, yeah, that was really the game for Duke because running wise, they averaged less than 3 yards per carry. I thought it was one of the better run performances from the VT defense all season long, if not perhaps the best. So it was kind of disappointing from that perspective to just see how well they stuffed the run, but they give up so many chunk passing plays that it almost doesn't even matter. And you spot a team 14 points in the first 5 minutes of the first quarter. Yeah, you come back, but that's hard to dig. That's a hard hole to dig yourself out of. So, and then third quarter, Duke came out with a really good first drive of that half, kind of gashed VT through the air and also with the run as well. Don't know what happened there, but I don't know, man. Just they were successful most of the time. The defense was, but just ungodly amounts of big chunk passing plays really did them in.
Brian, what about you? What went bad?
The frustrating thing was just watching coverage, man, because that's something I feel like we've been not great at, but I mean, we hadn't been giving up those big chunk plays like that all year. So it was frustrating. And I know a couple, you had, I think Lovett slipped on one, he slipped on another, one that was a touchdown, one that set up a touchdown, like Shelton was saying just before the half. And then you had a big busted coverage on that first one, where it looked like Most Phillips was kind of eyes in the backfield. And next thing you know, guys 10 yards behind him. So it was just frustrating to watch those big plays kind of happen because, again, if you take away those big plays, it's a completely different game. But that's why you gotta be there and make the play.
Yeah, it's here you go. This was early in the game. It was 5 defensive plays. They scored 14 points.
Yep,
that's just unbelievable. I'll say this, and we'll probably touch into this a little bit more. The bad was into the game for me. I did not get to watch the second half. We were visiting family. I had it at my sister's house. My mother didn't have it. So I'm between texting the shit out of these guys along with Tally and other people and watching Gamecast, trying to figure out what's going on. 1:44 left. The fumble happens. We get the ball. Great. We got 3 timeouts. You can run your whole offense because you have timeouts in the bag. And we just chunked the ball. Let's just throw it. Let's try no semblance of attempting to drive the ball. We're down 3. You don't need a touchdown. You do not need 84 yards. You need, at best, I'm going to say 55 because of John Love's leg. 55 yards. That could easily be a couple plays. And I sit here and I'm frustrated as hell because that's not the first time it's happened. Happened against Vandy late in the game. Happened against Rutgers late in the game. Just remember those things. It's this consistently at the end of the game, we're down. And it's like literally, it's like playing a 7-year-old on Madden or college football, and you get them down late. What do? They run everything deep. All you got to do is play quarters or play coverage for you'll pick the ball off. I don't fucking get it. I'm not paid $1 million, and I could sit here and tell you 144 left. Heck, run a little toss out to Tootin. Try to get the edge. Maybe he seals and busts a 20-yard run. Run a screen. Run something quick to get the ball in somebody's hands quick. And we didn't.
Well, another thing we when you talk about that, we closed the first half with a couple situations where that bit us in the ass as well. You know, you get in the red zone, was it under 5 minutes? 7-step drop, you get sacked, another 7-step drop, you get a fumble. Now all of a sudden, you know, they're in business, they go down, they take the lead there. And then, you know, you end up getting the ball. We got the ball back, had 6 seconds on the clock, and another 7-step drop instead of just running a quick out to try to get Love a chance to kick a field goal there. So that sequence to close the first half was mind-boggling to me. You know, we had a bunch of opportunities where we could have really either taken a big lead or at least got the lead back there at the end, and just kind of, you know, pissed down our leg a lot with the play calling and the execution there.
Sheldon, anything else went bad? I know you said you had something. I told you put it in the chamber that I'm assuming that was going to be in the bad category. Did you still have that?
Well, that's more of a Brent Price stat, which we can talk about if we get into the coaching discourse. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought the offense moved the ball pretty well, actually. So I don't really have too many gripes with the offense, other than maybe how that last first half drive ended. You know, where they got down, ran the ball, took a timeout in second down, I think it was, and took a big sack. I understand what they were trying to do with, you know, maybe only no timeouts left, second down. So obviously, you know, you got to try taking a shot to the end zone. You get sacked. Then you've got to pass again to kind of throw the ball away, because you can't have the clock running after that third down play. So it's like, yeah, I don't know, just kind of mess with a drive. I mean, I know they had some execution miscues on that one, but that just was kind of screwed up from the start.
Hey, Robbie, I agree with you here 100%, but at the same time, that's when your coordinator doesn't necessarily put an inexperienced quarterback in that situation, in that down and distance, in that location on the field.
It's very true, and I'm trying to get to it here with the fumble, because that drive started. All right, we're at the Duke 14-yard line with 47 seconds left. The 14-yard line. And Pop, he attempts to run the ball, and he loses a couple. Pry calls a timeout. That's fine. No issue with the timeout right there, because he gets hit behind the line. People are going in. You bring them back. The issue was what you said, and what Robbie made a point out to. They were as inexperienced, but it's at the 14-yard line. Why are you trying to run 5 and 7 steps drop, trying to get people in the end zone? Get the ball in somebody's hands. Have 2 plays ready to go. And, Brian, I know you guys did this at Sydney at times where y'all called a timeout, and you'd have 2 plays. Hey, we're going hurry up. As soon as we hit the first one, we're going right to this one, regardless. Again, I'm not getting paid $1 million. When he comes out of that timeout, it should have been 2 plays in case we get tackled inbounds where we can make a quick snap and we can make the decision. But instead, it's a 7-step drop. It's a sack. Then it happens again. We're at the 25 at that point in time, too. So you sit here, and again, it's mismanagement of the game. Because at the 25-yard line, do the math, 40-yard field goal, John Love, tie ball game, right?
Yep.
Or down 1 point at halftime.
Down
one point at halftime.
Yeah. So I pulled it up. So that second down play, they ran the ball on second down, 2-yard loss, called a timeout. They wanted to run a screen pass, but it got blown up so quickly because someone, I think it was Caden that missed his block. That got blown up right away. So then you're back to the 27, and then there's 28 seconds left and counting, and then you get blown up. So, I mean, maybe they should have called. Well, actually, now that I look at it, man, I don't think Pop had a chance. Honestly,
Well, the whole piece is, well, you mentioned they blow up the screen pass. Then what you've got to basically go in, Shelton, and say, hey, listen, if the screen is not there on 2nd and 12, just kill the ball at the feet. Just kill the ball at somebody's feet. We'll go 3rd down. It's the whole now try to find the next play. Well, likely that's the read. And if they blew that up on a screen, Brian, you know from playing offensive line all these years, and we can talk about it. Some people put in here the offensive line playing like shit. Not the whole game. Not the whole game.
It was a very up and down performance.
But Brian, that screenplay he's talking about.
Yep.
You know that basically, you know from playing, if that screen does not work and it's not there, you cannot hold the ball. It should have been, if the screen's not there, what do? Throw it at somebody's fucking feet. At least at that point, even if they call intentional grounding, it's probably a 3 to 4 yard loss. And obviously, too, it would be the clock would stop and either Duke could do the 10-second runoff, which might have benefited us in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, it was a comedy of errors, and like I said, it was a combination, in my opinion, of maybe bad situational plus again bad execution, inexperience from Pop in that type of situation. So there's just a lot of factors at play there that really kind of helped us screw the pooch in that very important situation, in my opinion, because you went from a spot where the drive before, if you could have finished that, you really fully recaptured the momentum after a disastrous first 5 plays on defense. Then you let them go back and take the lead, and then now you're back again where you can make it a 1-point game. You don't do it. You end up getting the ball back, and you kind of do the same thing again there instead of trying to get a quick play that might give you a chance to at least get one more field goal attempt there to close out the half. So to me, it was just a bad sequence, those final really 3 possessions of the half for the Hokies on offense.
And effectively, those type things have been the undoing all year of the Hokies. Hokies fall to 5-6 on the season, and it stinks. That's the bad. It stinks. I do want to point out that there were a couple good moments, or not good moments, but good individual performances in this game. And I'm going to call out the first. We've called his name a couple times for making errors, but overall with Pop Watson, I actually felt good because he looked to be making quick reads. You saw the elusiveness from him. And everybody can say, well, he didn't look great. He didn't lead us to a win. He played well enough to lead us to a win if he had been put in a couple more right situations.
Yeah, I mean, we got to, I think when we look at the performances, we got to also mention Ali Jennings' coming out party for 2024. It took a while to get there, but hey, we finally got a big performance from Ali Jennings this year, so good to see that. And really showed a burst that I don't really think we've seen for most of the season, especially on that touchdown where he kind of took it, got up the alley, and then kind of finished it running over the tackler there near the end zone.
How about you, Sheldon? Anybody you felt good about or you want to give a kudos to?
I mean, we saw a little bit of Devin Ellis at safety. Probably was complimentary of him. So I guess that'd be one. And again, I mean, obviously the entire D line I thought was great in run defense. So, kudos to them.
Yeah, I mean the offense, the defensive line and the defense in general from a run stopping situation was top notch all game. They had a little bit of a rough drive there towards the end. They finally let a couple runs get through there, but for the most part, anytime they tried to run, there wasn't really a whole lot to be seen in terms of extra yardage there. So kudos to them. It's frustrating that, again, like we're seeing this team get beat in different ways every week. It's like we can't just circle this is the problem.
No,
this here is the problem, because it's something new every week.
And that says something that probably hopefully a week from tonight we're discussing, because when you can't pinpoint one problem, it probably means it's multiple people and multiple problems as we're discussing. So, we'll see what happens basically over the next couple weeks. I want to give a shout out to APR. Did not record a sack, got 1.5 tackles for loss, but you could see him coming off the edge. They were ready for him, and they still could not stop the pressure he created. He got absolutely screwed out of not being a finalist for the Lombardi Award. Absolutely screwed, in my opinion. Screwed. If y'all didn't see that, he was not named a finalist. It's a bunch of bullshit. And somehow, who else? Somebody else got left off the Thorpe. Colorado guy. Travis Hunter got left off the Thorpe today. Finalist. Explain that one. Anybody? Y'all got any explanations for either one of those guys?
Statistically, he's the best corner in the country. And, probably a top 10 or 15 wide receiver.
And he did not get a fucking Thorpe nomination.
But, whatever. Fuck us, right?
That's pretty much it right now.
I know.
All right, let's keep on going. Anything y'all weren't prepared for? Like
bombs? I mean, I wasn't prepared for them to have big plays in the passing game. I was not prepared for that. I knew there was potential there, but we had been pretty sound about not allowing those the big long ones all year. Even when those are busted, usually it was kind of underneath and there was a missed tackle or over pursuit or something like that was causing the play itself to happen, not necessarily just getting beat deep, slipping, things like that. We hadn't had a ton of those all year, so it was really disappointing for that to happen in this game.
Sean, anything you weren't?
Yeah, I was. Same with Brian. Obviously, the big passing plays because it's not exactly Duke's strong suit. But I was a little surprised pleasantly with how well the offense moved the ball considering the circumstances. I mean, you got down to Pop Watson, your third string quarterback. I thought he was looking pretty good on some of those RPO slants. Like he could hit them, and Malik for Duke was missing. He could barely hit those plays. I know he had a few good deep balls and he's good throwing deep balls, but in those intermediate range, I didn't think it was very accurate. Pop looked really good on some of those intermediate passes, so I was very pleasantly surprised by that.
Yeah, this is another one. My only thought with that is that you go from Schlee to Pop Watson, and maybe some of those snaps that you were going to get a rawer guy in at wide receiver. Now you may keep your veterans in a little bit more. Because you're working with a raw and inexperienced quarterback. So that's my only guess there. Anybody that knows different can feel free to chime in there, but that's my guess.
Yeah, there's nobody knows. What didn't happen that I was prepared for? It's tough for me. I go to probably I wasn't prepared to see Bashal Tune play the way he played because him coming off the injury, he at times looked like the Bashal we know. The cuts, the burst, he got over 1,000, which kudos to him on that. I'm so glad he got 1,000 yards, first since Khalil Herbert back in 2020 during the COVID season. Won a lot that no one actually saw in Lane Stadium, which sucks, but he deserved it from getting basically COVID screwing him probably out of a D1 offer. Last year, the way things broke, probably more earlier in the season where he could have had it then. But I was pleasantly surprised that he looked as good as he did. And I also loved his statement today. I don't know if you saw it in the presser about I'm here to play. I'm going to go ahead and say something. Running backs, every NFL coach, wherever he was, he just went up 32 spots on their boards, wherever he was. Because if you ever hear about like NFL, I'm a Niners fan, they always talk about it. John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, you have to love football to be here. You can't love money. You can't love hype. You can't love success. You have to love the actual game. When I heard him say that, there's a bunch of people saying, where is he? Move him up the next round. Why? He loves the game. We're going to see him Saturday one last time in Lane Stadium. All righty. To the last point here, we always hit. What can we do better moving forward? Is this where you wanted to throw the bomb in there, Shelton? What can we do better moving forward? Because I don't know how much coach discourse we're going to get tonight.
I mean, win close games, I guess. I don't really know what other solution there is. Like the teams play, mostly pretty well. I mean, they put themselves in good spots and they just can't get over the hump. So I was researching this last night because I saw a stat that was somewhat related to it. So last 20 years, this year Virginia Tech has a point differential of plus 5.7 against FBS teams. So they're winning their games on average by 5.7 points against the FBS. That is the second highest point differential for a team with a losing record in the last 20 years. Only other team with a higher point differential with a losing record was Georgia back in 2010. So it just kind of puts into perspective to you just how much this team has underperformed. And I know, we talk a lot about the coaching and, where we've kind of come up short and the coordinators and so forth. But, I don't think the play in the field has been as bad as people think. I just think the complete and utter inability to capitalize in those crunch situations and just eventually, find your way on top of a close game is just something that's been really unprecedented. I mean, we've seen the data, probably has the worst record in one-score games for any coach in the last 20 years with at least 10 games. So I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of out of inch at this point, honestly. Just find a way to win a close game. There's really nothing else that needs to be said.
Yeah, you've lost 6 games by a combined 34 points. That's what it is. You're talking about that's less than
you're not getting blown out.
That's less than a touchdown per game. Only one of them has been a 2-score situation. All the other ones have been 1-score contests. So,
and that was a 1-score contest for how long?
Most of the damn game.
Most of the fucking game.
Wow. I mean, it's one of those so close but so fucking far away situations of you're there to you're putting yourself in a position where you could be considered a good team, but you are not closing the deal with any sort of regularity when things are tight, when things get tough, when teams put pressure on you in the final 2 minutes of a game, when teams put pressure on you in the final quarter of a game. You've done a good job of counterpunching when teams come out quick. You've had an answer. When teams have hit you with that inevitable third quarter debacle, you've had an answer, but you haven't been able to close the deal when it mattered. And that's a problem.
Yeah, put what Robbie just said up there. You have to learn how to win now and close the games. And the question now goes, and this is, I know we've said it a lot, and people in there put up gems as well, because it goes back to this. The question is, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to a head coach, because if we talk about the way the talent's changed on the field in the last 3 years, the analysis and the reviewing of the talent in the portal and the guys they're bringing in from the recruiting ranks in high school, this staff's done that right. You want to argue with me all you want. Colin Schlee didn't look out of place. Pop Watson didn't look out of place. Drones, when he has been healthy, has looked fine. Bashal Tootin looked good. Think of some of the younger offensive linemen who are working their way in. They've looked good. That's what's irritating. That's what's irritating more than anything, because in 2021, the games we lost, I could point and say, we're not as talented here. We're not as talented here. And if you ask me, what's more frustrating? Well, this is more frustrating than that. Because at least there I could say we just don't have the horses to keep up. Now I get to sit here and say, we have the horses. We can play with any fucking body in the country, and we've seen that. We just ain't pressing the right buttons.
Yeah. I mean, you played with Miami, you played with Clemson. And then you kind of play down to a Duke, you play down to a Syracuse. And I mean, I understand you're playing with backup quarterbacks in both of those games, but those are games you needed to have to put a stamp on the season and feel pretty good about it, especially the way you started off with the Vanderbilt and the Rutgers loss. We needed to win those games, perception-wise. You need to show that you can close the deal against middling ACC competitions, regardless of whether you got your starting quarterback in there or not, because you put yourself in position, despite that, to win those games. You got to win them.
Sheldon, one last thing to close out this segment.
I mean, I don't know. I kind of talked about it last week for the key play. It's been a pretty average staff so far. I feel like I don't think it's been bad. I don't think it's been great either. I don't think the sky's falling, but I think one of the things that makes it hard to sort of analyze what the problem is that I think the issues with this team are so vague and amorphous and poorly defined that I don't really know exactly where to start. Like, I don't know who to scapegoat. Statistically, is it the offense or the defense? I don't know. Could it be some of the assistants? Maybe. But what's the main issue? I just don't know if there's one thing you can put in. Like, we are terrible at that, and if we fix that, then boom, we're good. It's kind of like collectively everybody's just been average, and I don't know how you fix average.
Yeah, and I think I'll tell this. I'll say this. I think where we're seeing that amorphous situation is coming from just the general inexperience of the people that are making the high level decisions for the program right now. And that's why you're seeing different things, different weeks, because that inexperience, I think, is starting to stack up. As we get expectations attached to us. We get these situations where we're in these tight contests. These coordinators haven't seen these situations with enough frequency when it's their decision that is going to make or break that moment potentially. And it's like it's a combination of not seeing that, but also I think at times either not understanding the strengths and weaknesses in a given moment of your team, and not leaning on the strength that you have in your running game at key moments in the game and thinking, I need yards, I'm just going to drop back and see what happens here. I think sometimes, on offense, Bowen sometimes overthinks. And then I think sometimes on defense, you get a little bit of that we do what we do mindset, and that can burn you in the end as well.
I'm going to just close it with this right here.
What does every USAA member have in common? Family. We're one big family who supports the military community and their eligible families. And if you, your parent, or spouse served, you could join our family and save big on auto insurance. Visit USAA.com/join today to check your eligibility. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
Everyone who works at Starbucks, full or part-time, gets stock in our company, simply for being part of our company. That's why we call our employees partners, because when Starbucks succeeds, our people do too. And that success turns into down payments, family vacations, and so much more. At Starbucks, benefits like company stock are just the start. Learn more about how we support partners at starbucks.com/partners.
So let's talk about the poll we put out there.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Let's
So we put out a poll. We're basically saying, what needs to happen in the season. We got move on from Brent Pry, move on from your OC and DC. It could be either, or, could be one or the other, could be both, or something else. And we put that out there. So 75% of you think that one or both of the coordinators need to go. The other 25% were basically a combination of either move on from Pry, or essentially all the other statements were basically dump the entire athletic department down the toilet and start over from scratch. So some variation of fire wit, which is going to have a trickle down effect through football, right? So 75% are just on the coordinator wagon. Another 25% are basically some version of moving on from Brent Pry. So that's kind of the rundown of over 700 folks that clicked on that poll there. So do with that what you will.
Well, do with that what you will, and I think it's where, as I was talking to a family member on a Saturday, they pay attention a little bit to football, not crazy, but I was like, him as that marketing, the guy who glad hands people, who's going to talk to everybody at the party, got it down pat. Him as a face. I know some people get tired of the coach stick. I still think his stick's better than Fuente because he will a lot of times, and we've heard this from day one, he a lot of times will say we as coaches specifically on certain points. If y'all remember, Brian, we sat here, I believe a little bit drunk a couple years ago and said, Fuente will never, ever, he always says we.
Say execution one more time, motherfucker.
Execution. He would never say coaches. That is the one, it's still a breath of fresh air. I know it pisses some people off. What can you do? And it's like, well, at least he's admitting that as a coaching staff, they have to be better. He's not sitting here saying we. What the fuck's we? Is we all of us? The whole fucking team?
The royal we?
So there we go. All right, so let's take a quick little break here. Sip on what I'm sipping on. And as always, we are brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. And obviously, it is Hate Week this week. We do not have a guest, so we are going to be getting into some of the UVA Cavaliers players here. Obviously, they are currently led by Tony Elliott, also in his third season. A significantly bigger or significantly worse win-loss record than Brent Price. He's also coming in 5-6. They're 5-6, right? I didn't fucking make that up in my head for that.
We're both playing for bowl eligibility.
So the story of the Commonwealth Cup over the last 10 years.
10 plus, man. Going back to the end of Beamer there.
2012. Well, no, 10 years, 2014, man. That was one of those years. But we are going to talk about them tonight. And obviously, Brian, I believe that you wanted to start on the defensive side of the ball, a little bit behind their defensive setup, defensive scheme.
Yeah. I mean, this is a multiple formation. Kind of, they have a 3-4 base, but they'll run multiple fronts. You'll see them come out in a 4-2. You'll see them come out in a 3-4, 3-3 stack. They'll run a lot of different looks at you, different fronts. So expect that. They've got their hybrid outside linebacker DN, and then they got a hybrid kind of safety linebacker there, so they can kind of move guys around, give you a little bit of a different look depending on how they want to attack you. So expect that. It's going to be very interesting to prepare for that from an offensive line standpoint with having different fronts pretty regularly. So we'll see if they come out and stick with mostly a three-man front, or if they kind of mix in 4-man with any regularity.
Yep, and if y'all are wondering, that's led by John Rudzinski. He's the guy that came over from Air Force with them. And as far as it goes for this year, they're ranked well in the bottom half. Shelton, if you have that number, I have a very big number here I want to give out. They give up, on average, 5.1 yards per play. I do not have where they rank, but Shelton, if you've got that or any info you want to lay on about their defense from a statistical perspective before we look at the players.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right here.
Efforting.
I've got 419 yards per game average is their average for FBS opponents. And that also translates to 6 yards per play against FBS, which ranks 91st in the country. So not good.
Ooh, that's low. So, Brian, let's talk about a couple of the players. Shelton, you got any on these players? Just chime in when you want to, my man. Let's talk about kind of the guy you threw on here. We'll talk about Jonas Sanker, the 6'2", 193-pound safety, 3-star when he came out. Actually went right from hometown there, went to the Covenant School down in Charlottesville. And so far this season, taking a look at his, statistics, he is leading the team in not only solo tackles, but also total tackles at 89. And Brian, just kind of looking at real quick what you see, what do you like from Sanker?
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that has really good activity as a run defender, coming from that back part of the formation there. Really good instincts, good tackler. Probably not the fastest kid that you'll see from the secondary perspective, but he can still cover good ground there. Not really great in coverage, really just an average coverage, but in terms of run stopping from a safety position, he does a really good job at that.
Sheldon, anything on Sanker, grade-wise, data-wise, statistics-wise you like or are interested in?
No, I'll give you a second to look it up. I can circle back.
All right, we'll circle back on Sanker there. The other guy I wanted to talk about was a guy a lot of people thought that might be in Blacksburg after he when he came out, which in the 2023 class is Cam Robinson, 4-star out of Tappahannock, just down 360 here, east heading towards the coast, Essex High School. Pretty big time recruit when he came out, a top 10 player in the state. And obviously he's already getting it done, just in his second year there, Brian. What do you like about him? Maybe some weaknesses.
Yeah, I mean, he's really kind of settled in really quick at the Mike position for UVA. Really kind of came in and out the gate was a difference maker on that linebacker unit, and continues to be. He's been banged up the last couple weeks here, so he hasn't seen as much action. But we'll see if he's going to be fully healthy this go. But it looks like he is at the top of the depth chart this week for the Cavaliers, so expect to get him in heavy doses. And I mean, he's a guy that's going to give you a lot of fits. Does a really good job against the run. Really good athlete, matches up well when he's in coverage responsibilities. Probably a little bit weaker in zone coverage than he is, covering guys man to man. But he's probably to me at least, looking top to bottom, probably the scariest player on their defense, just because of what we do well and what he does well.
Jill.
You're on mute again, bud.
Can y'all hear me?
Yep, we got you.
One moment.
Can you hear us? I got you.
I can hear you now. Sheldon, you got anything right now?
Yeah, just looking at some of UVA's advanced stats in the advanced stats column. A lot of red, which is bad. You don't want red. 102nd offensive success rate, 109th in dropback success rate. So their passing game's been extremely inefficient. And then defense 58th, so a little bit better there. But they just haven't really converted drives. But that's been a big sore spot for them. Third down success, pretty bad, 203rd in third and fourth down conversion rate. So across the board, man, it's been a rough year for the Wahoos. It's not a lot to really look at positively if you're a UVA fan.
All right, except they're 5-6 somehow. That's the only positive they have is they're fucking 5-6.
Look at the front half of their schedule, homie.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
I mean, we haven't had anything to write home about, but the front half of their schedule was dog shit. And we looked at it and we're like, get to the back half of this schedule and you will be lucky to see one more.
They got Pitt. They got Pitt, which completely shocked me. Real quick about the importance of Cam Robinson here, because even though they rank way, way down, as Shelton mentioned, in the total defense and that yards per play, their run defense is middle of the pack. So Cam Robinson playing Saturday is probably a huge key to that, because they rank 57th in the country when it comes to that. So definitely going to be key if he goes Saturday night. Brian, you had one more guy you wanted to talk about. Who was that?
Yeah, that's our defensive end, Cam Butler. Just looking at what we do poorly, we struggle at times to protect the passer, especially when you potentially might have Pop Watson in there at quarterback. Somebody with that inexperience, we saw that on a couple of times against Duke, become a big problem. So we're going to need some consistent offensive line play when we pair that with, potentially starting our third string quarterback in this game. So we'll see if Schlee can go with the, concussion. We know that that Kyron's probably going to be missing this game as well. So we're probably going to be counting on at least our second, if not our third string quarterback here. So it's going to be important to protect that person. And, Cam Butler does he's not an excellent rusher, but he is a guy that is consistent and has a motor. So we've got to be consistent with our protection throughout the game.
And obviously, going back to the Duke game, probably a night that whole offensive line wants to remember, giving up 7 sacks, 14.5 tackles for loss. So something not good. And, Shelton said there about their drop back success rate, not that good. So there is going to be some opportunities there, but always keep an eye on that Cam Butler. Shelton, anything else before we jump over to the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I did look up the numbers for Jonas Sanker, their safety. PFF is pretty average on him, maybe a little bit below average, but he does have 6 quarterback pressures this season, which is tied for 9th most among ACC defensive backs. So I don't know how often they bring him in pressure situations, but he's done a decent job of getting there at least. And then in coverage, he's been targeted a decent amount, and teams have had success against him. 3 touchdowns given up in coverage per PFF. So they've been able to get to him. But yeah, I just think overall, UVA for the most part has kind of struggled defensively, particularly in the secondary. Run defense has been okay overall, pretty solid, but their secondary has been some burnt toast this season.
All righty, let's hope we can take advantage of that on Saturday. Let's flip over to the offensive side of the ball. That's led by Des Kitchen. Brian, what does he like to do on offense?
It's a wide zone offense. He's been trying to get to it, I think, for a while. I think they're starting to have a little bit more success with the running game this year than they have necessarily, I think, the last 2 years. It's an offense that is kind of predicated on being able to run the ball so they can set up some of those throws downfield. That is kind of their bread and butter when they do get into a rhythm, is throwing the football down the field a little bit off of play action and things like that. So obviously led, Calandry at quarterback. We've seen Musket in there from time to time. I think there's a little bit of a quarterback controversy kind of brewing there. I don't know how much to make of that, just because, Musket's out of eligibility beyond this year. So that's something to watch. We'll see how much of Musket we see Saturday compared to Calandria. But, when we look at Calandria, he's a guy that I think is as much as we want to give Kyron the sophomore slump here, I mean, here's a guy that's really hit the sophomore wall very fucking hard this year. When we looked at him playing last year, you saw a lot of the ceiling was there. You could see what the ceiling looked like. When he came to throwing the ball downfield a lot, very average in those intermediate areas, but he was driving the ball downfield pretty effectively. We haven't seen a whole lot of that success this year. Success down the field much lower than last year. And he's the guy that's gonna he'll put the ball in danger from time to time as well. So we're gonna have some opportunities again, just like we had against Duke, to get some picks here, turn those into some points.
All right. Anything on Calandria to write home about, Sheldon?
Yeah, so apropos of what Brian was saying, actually, PFF grades him as the second worst quarterback on intermediate throws this season. He has been very inefficient there, and they don't throw it a ton of intermediate. But yeah, he's struggled a lot there. He's also been pressured, I believe, 152 times this season, which is 4th most among all Power 4 quarterbacks. So maybe that's gotten a little bit in his head. I'm sure that's probably impacted his performance to some degree. But, teams have a pretty easy time getting into him. And, UVA typically, in terms of their passing structure, they disproportionately go behind line of scrimmage and short throws a little bit more. So you probably see that more so than, deep shots, just because they've been so ineffective in intermediate and deep throws.
I want you to bring up what Josh brought up here, just so everybody can kind of know that, obviously, if y'all are paying attention. Hey, Josh, yes, first of all, their second leading rusher, Xavier Brown, he's out the rest of the season. So we will not see Xavier Brown, who has been averaging 6.1 per attempts. He was right under 500 yards for the year, along with 3 total touchdowns, also 14.1 through the air. Kobe Pace also hurt. They will not know a lot on him until the end of the year. the end of the week. So not looking good there as well. And I know, Brian, you kind of made a little point here. You wanted to mention him because he could potentially show up.
But yeah, I mean, if he shows up, he's going to be the guy that's going to set the pace for them.
He kind of has to in that sense because he is their leading guy. And if you're talking about going down, I believe Noah Vaughn, too, is going to be the next guy up. He is a sophomore, and in 7 games, he has 30 carries.
Yeah, and you just kind of rubber stamping what I was saying earlier here, Robbie, knowing Kitchens a little bit more there. If the wide zone is not successful, they're going to struggle. Everything in the offense kind of builds off the success of that play. So if they're struggling there, it's going to be a trickle-down effect. And we saw that against SMU. We saw it against some other teams as well. So, hey,
Shelton, your pressure rate thing is absolutely on par with how they do statistically. They are 132 of 133 in sacks allowed. They almost give up 4 sacks per game. So Shelton mentioned pressure rates. Not only are they getting pressure, teams are finishing them off as well when it comes to that. A couple more folks to talk about here, Brian. I know that you wanted to hit up Malachi Fields, who obviously is their key guy when it comes to passing the ball. Shelton, I'll let you get the data up here, but just, Brian, what are you seeing on the tape? And then Shelton, if you can get a chance, let's talk about some of what he's good at.
Yeah, I mean, he's their primary threat down the field. Good at high pointing the ball, making catches in traffic. So he's going to be the guy that's going to be kind of the beginning and end of their big play potential. There's a couple other guys out there that have done some things here or there, but really it kind of starts and ends with what Malachi Fields has been doing. Also to note, Trell Harris hasn't been available most of the year. Looks like he is going to be available. He's kind of a very specific use receiver, kind of on the younger end there, but he is a guy that is a red zone threat. So, keep an eye on him from that perspective, especially with him coming back. There's a couple other guys, like Andre Green and Chris Tyree that are out there, but they haven't been the factors I think that UVA thought they were going to be this year.
Poor Chris Tyree.
Yeah, it's talk about somebody that at least Notre Dame was utilizing him as a gadget type player, whether out of the backfield or at a true wide receiver spot. UVA really has not maximized his potential at all. It's really kind of begin and end with Malachi Fields from a wide receiver perspective. We got another guy that we'll talk about a little bit too that kind of supplements that.
Yeah, but let's go back to Chris Tyree for a second, because Chris Tyree at Notre Dame, basically 3 years, 1,000+ rushing yards, add another 400 in the pass in 3 years. Also was a legit kick return specialist. And everything just went this way. And if y'all remember when he came out, when Chris Tyree came out, I mean, Chris Tyree was like a top 150 player that went to Notre Dame from LC Bird down here in Richmond. And when he went to Notre Dame and you saw the production, it's like, well, they can't do everything with him, but it's like he's building his skill set to basically – he has a chance to go to the next level. He's submarine that this year in what he's done at UVA, and it sucks. It sucks for him because he was a hell of an athlete. I can't remember. Did he win back in 2019? I felt like maybe he was the prep player of the year. Shelton, I know you were doing some stuff with RTD back then. Was he prep player of the year back in 2019?
Actually, 2019 was before my time.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, sorry. I have a slightly different take. I think his production at Notre Dame was a little bit of a red flag because he averaged less yards per carry in 2022 than Keyshawn King did behind that Notre Dame O-line. So I think it was more a case of like this guy was not quite living up to the potential that maybe some people thought he did. And goes to UVA, just doesn't really produce. He's one of the lowest rated guys on PFF. Andre Green, another guy that went to UNC, came back to UVA and also has not produced. So what does that say about some Virginia skill guys? I don't know, but maybe that's a conversation for another day.
Were you able to find anything on Malachi Fields
Yeah, he's been pretty solid this year. Overall, PFF likes him as the number 4 graded receiver in the ACC.
Oh, wow.
Yards per catch, not eye-popping, but pretty solid. Um, and average depth of target about 12 yards, so a little bit more intermediate, not too much, going deep a lot. But he's definitely been, I would say, their most productive overall wide receiver. Not that the competition is particularly stiff, but he's probably the one guy you want to watch out for the most.
What a subtle backhanded comment. Oh my God, that's great. If you didn't catch it, the wide receiver, he's a good wide receiver, but the competition he's playing with is not that stiff. That's the only reason he's looking good per Shelton Moss. All right, Brian, one more guy. Let's hit him up. Let's talk about Tyler Neville, the tight end. What you got on him?
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about the other competition not standing up, I mean, Neville is the number 2 receiver on this team at tight end position. So that tells you a little bit about what's going on the UVA side of things there. And he's really their kind of outlet guy. He's the guy that's going to help them move the sticks and keep the drive matriculating down the field there. But definitely big safety valve for Calandria or Musket, whoever we see. Again, I'm still expecting Calandria, but who the fuck knows at this point. I've heard that there's some locker room drama going on with that situation. So we'll see how that plays out and what effect that's had on the output that this team has had in the back half of this schedule. But now, I mean, Neville's kind of very, very balanced guy, but he also is very effective in the passing game, which I think is where he's going to probably serve the biggest purpose in this game.
All righty. So there's kind of a quick look at the Virginia side of the ball. I'm going to make this one last real quick kind of comparison before we get into our keys and everything. So I always keep up. I'm a total offense guy, not scoring. I love to lean on Shelton for the deeper metrics, but somehow there are 2 5-6 teams meeting Saturday, and somehow, even though as bad as their offensive line is, they are just one position behind the Hokies in total offense. Total offense for the Hokies is 84th. UVA is 85th. So just put that on there. And let's get to the keys of the game here. Shelton, I'll let you mull it over a second. Brian, what's your key to this game?
The key to this game is keep the damn cup at all cost. I think when we look at the importance of this from a long-term perspective, I think getting the extra practices in for a bowl is important for this team because it's a team that is both very young and very experienced at the same time. So you got a lot of players that are out of eligibility, and then you got a lot of sophomores and freshmen that are seeing some significant snaps. So I think getting those guys some extra snaps, whether it is helping with potential draft stock for the guys that are running out of eligibility that are going to be draft eligible or want to be draft eligible, and then the guys further down the pike, getting them some extra practices where they're a little bit more prepared to take on more leadership roles as we roll into 2025. And this is regardless of what happens with the coaching staff, top down to bottom. All of these things are going to be important rolling into 2025. So that winning the cup, keeping the cup, getting those extra practices, hopefully getting another win in a bowl game, getting back to 7, and at least saying, despite everything, we didn't take a step back, even though we didn't take the step forward that we thought we saw coming.
All righty. Shelton, what about you? What's your key to this game?
I'd say try to, maintain some level of efficiency on the ground game. I mean, I think if VT struggles to run the ball, it's going to make it really difficult for Pop Watson just because, now he played last week. Teams have a week of film. How do they adjust? I think that's going to be a big key. I could certainly foresee a situation in which maybe Pop struggles under the spotlight, and maybe UVA rattles him. They disguise coverages. They make life hell for him, and maybe he can't adjust. And so if that's the case, then you got to be able to run the ball. So I don't know if I expect Tootin to play. Obviously, he said that in the presser this week. So he's going to gut it out, and you got to find a way to get some chunk plays. And I think Tootin and the O-line are definitely going to have to step up and perform big time this Saturday.
All right. I've said so much about the keys all year, a lot of different things. And it's kind of what Shelton just said right there. Keep Pop Watson clean if he is indeed the starter, which is looking like that's probably going to be the potential. And then for the other one, what you have to kind of think about is we've mentioned it a couple times already is we have to pressure Anthony Calandria. We have to. And when I say that, it just means to me if we're standing Calandria's face pretty much all game, I think this is going to be potentially maybe a one-score game we win. But that's the two things. It's keep Pop clean, and it's basically keep Calandria on the ground the whole fucking game. All righty. As y'all know, it's been an hour, and Jonathan Talley is not here tonight. And Jonathan Talley had some stuff come up family-wise, kind of last minute. He was always expecting to get in here. I think it was about 5 o'clock our time. He messaged us, says, hey, can't roll. Something's happened. Pretty sure everything's all right. Usually Talley will let us know if more is going on. But obviously, I had to ask for his prediction, and so I'm going to lead with that real quick before I get to Shelton, Brian, and then myself. And y'all, Talley's down bad. Talley's down bad. Talley thinks that UVA takes this game 28-21. What say you, Shelton Moss?
I'm gonna take VT 31-21. I think they're gonna get like a last. I think we're gonna get like a late field goal to make it a 2-score game, so that way we can live with the misery of Brent Pry being bad in 1-score games. So we'll avoid having 1-score win for the first time in 3 years. So yeah, I'll take VT.
Brian?
I wanted to pick against us so bad, but just looking at UVA and what they've done recently, even with if Pop Watson is the starter, I think we've got a very good chance of coming away with the W at home, in lane, bowl eligibility on the line, cup on the line. Give me a 31-24 victory for the Hokies, and Brent Pry gets his second 1-score victory of his tenure. And you know, it may be one that, you know, he can build on for 2025.
All righty. I get to go last. And as most people who know me personally, y'all probably know I am a pretty positive person. I am a pretty positive individual, regardless what you see on here on Tuesday nights, because this is where I get to vent about Hokie football. I get to hold it in for a few days and let it all come out here. But I'm at the point right now in my head, I can't see this team win. I can't. I just can't. I think right now you lose another close game where you literally had so many things that went against you. You're right there. You should have easily have taken it. So I think, and I am hoping I'm wrong, and y'all can all talk shit to me next week. I'll be the happiest person to take it. I think they snapped the 26-year losing streak in Blacksburg on Saturday night. It's a 1-score game, 31-27, bad guys. So there it is. All righty.
We'll split house here. We'll split house.
Yep. Split house because me and Tally were down. You know why? Because me and Tally last week literally said Duke were going to win. We had it on the notes. That was how we felt, and we flipped it at the last possible second for whatever reason. Now, Brian, real quick, got to make an announcement here. So a couple things happened. We never heard from our original winner of the pyramid. So what did we have to do? Well, we threw all the names back in there. We pressed the button, and the new winner, and you have 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks, so what day will it be? 17th? Am I right?
You cannot math.
10th. I can't math with it right now. December 10th.
There you go.
Winner is?
It is Page Valley News, at Page Valley News on YouTube. Hit us up. You can throw a comment in here. You can shoot us an email, admin@boundarycornervt.com. We will get in touch with you. We will get you your mailing information so we can get this beauty over to you. So please, please, please hit us up any way you can. We will get it out to you.
Alrighty, so we're going to move forward. We have a few more things we're going to talk about football related, but as you all know, it is Thanksgiving week, and if y'all don't know, we are some hungry people at the Boundary Corner Podcast. We always eat. Brian cooking up a big meal this year for his family.
2 turkeys, baby.
Shelton,
2 turkeys.
Are you heading back into town? Or
Yep, headed back to Richmond.
Headed back to Richmond to eat with his family. Had one Thanksgiving already at my sister's this weekend. It was delicious. It was great. Obviously, Thursday here in Richmond as well. We are actually, my mother-in-law's doing turkey breast. We're doing the whole turkey here. So first time doing that as a family. And one of our buddies that we chat with all the time by the name of Andrew Parent threw this out here. And I want to hear it, not only from us here on the podcast. I want to see it, y'all out there, whether Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. And it's the following. And I'm going to, Callie sent me his, and our wonderful contributing writer, Miranda, sent us hers. But what is your core 4 on a plate at Thanksgiving? You only had 4 items you could put. What would you put? Gravy is a side. Gravy's not a side. Gravy is a sauce in this situation. All right? I'm going to start with Callie first. Callie said he's going to go with the dressing and give him some turkey. You want mac and cheese and a little sweet with the yam. I got that. Miranda, very similar here. She's going turkey with some mashed potatoes, a little stuffing, a little green bean casserole. Not as sweet for Miranda. Brian Siegler.
Oh, it's my turn?
What's your core 4?
All right. I got to go turkey. Got to go dressing. Got to go mac and cheese. My 4th is going to be green beans of whatever variety. So I will go with some sort of green bean, whether it be with some ham hocks, whether it be green bean casserole, whatever form of green beans you're giving me, we'll put it on there. Jason threw a little aside there with the deviled eggs. He threw the deviled eggs in there, and that's got me rethinking my green bean selection, but I'm going to stick with the green beans.
Oh, he goes ham. Yes, some places do serve ham.
Are we considering deviled eggs an actual side here? There's some gray area here.
I consider deviled eggs an actual side.
Okay.
I would consider that sauce. It can't be put on anything.
You know what? Then deviled eggs might trump green beans here. So let's go fucking deviled eggs.
Brian's going deviled eggs. He's kicking the greens to the side.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
Shelton Moss, what about you?
In order of preference, obviously we're going turkey, although I am a big ham fan as well. So if you want to substitute that, you can. Mashed potatoes and gravy, that's my number 1 side. You can't have a dinner without mashed potatoes and gravy. And then we'll go mac and cheese, and then we will go, I guess, green beans as well. Just to get some vegetables in there, make it a little bit healthy.
There you go.
All right, and we'll throw up a couple other folks here.
That was my inclination, and then I saw deviled eggs. I'm like, okay, all right.
Your boy here, not a big deviled eggs fan. There's Josh Young. Respectable.
Hey,
potato casserole.
Hey, Jim with the cranberry sauce, the can joint.
Oh man, Jim's starting the sweets earlier right here. With that.
Man.
Let me go up to Robbie real quick. I think you might have put it up. There you go.
All right, I had to eventually pivot over to Robbie's version there. So yeah, we're good there.
Yep. All right, I am going to go as follows. First of all, turkey and mashed potatoes, both with gravy on them. Get it on there, layer it up, make it all good. Next, something to my wife's I love. She does a delicious corn pudding. Absolutely lovely, little sweet. Gotta have it, especially as heavy as the turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy is. And then give me a broccoli casserole. I need a little bit of cheese in my life there. Although we didn't have broccoli casserole, my sister, so I did have a giant portion of mac and cheese. But throw a little greens in there, And yep. So it's always fun. We love to hear y'all's as well. Because I'm gonna be basically starting pretty much tomorrow through Sunday. Lots of football, lots of food, lots of family, a lot of good stuff over the next 5 days.
Yeah, I put the turkeys in the brine just before we jumped on here. Curtis jumped on. He saw I had the mic muted, the camera stopped. I was in there prepping the turkeys, man, getting those bad boys ready.
You smoking them or you dropping them?
Oh yeah, I'm smoking both of them.
All right.
Getting a full 24-hour brine in there, and I'm gonna let them air dry out in the fridge overnight, and then first thing in the morning they're on the smoker.
All right, let's keep it rolling here, and we will be eating good. Maybe I'll come to your house Friday and just eat all the rest.
We'll have plenty of leftovers, man.
Exactly. Maybe I'll come over Friday. All right, let's hit it real quick. College football playoff poll released tonight. Obviously, the chaos that happened in college football, especially down the SEC this weekend, kind of throws everything. Your top 4 are as follows: Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Miami, Georgia, Tennessee, SMU, Indiana, Boise, and then, believe it or not, the 12th team is Arizona State in. First team out is Clemson. And for everybody that's not aware, Oregon, Texas, Miami, and Boise State would get your buys, home field advantages. Ohio State, Penn State, Notre Dame, and Georgia would be getting home field advantages, effectively playing these other teams. Anything shocked by any of this for either one of y'all? If y'all got to see the release about 2 hours ago?
Make your next vacation unforgettable on Royal Caribbean's newest ship, Star of the Seas. It's everything you've loved about every family vacation you've ever been on, with mind-blowing thrills at the largest water park at sea, 7 onboard pools for every level of chill, more than 40 ways to dine and drink, and even more to enjoy at our award-winning private island, Perfect Day at Coco Cay. This is the new Star of the Seas. Click or tap the banner to find out more.
Why are there ridges on Reese's peanut butter cups? Probably so they never slip from her hands. Could you imagine? I'd lose it. Luckily, Reese's thought about that. Wonder what else they think about. Probably chocolate and peanut butter.
Not really.
This was actually a little bit more predictable than last week. I felt like we had a lot to talk about. This was kind of as straightforward as you could imagine. I mean, you could squabble a little bit over up one, down one, but there isn't the egregious, what the fuck are they doing there in this one?
It's true. I agree wholeheartedly with you. It's like they got it right. The Big 12 is definitely officially a one-bid league. ACC potentially sneak 2 into Clemson. A game we're going to pick in a little while here. That game is massive for Clemson's. Yep. IU probably has life if Indiana can beat Purdue, the terrible Purdue team, for the old Oaken Bucket, which is a game I almost chose. But
somehow Robbie was very right and very wrong last week. He's like, Indiana's going to get blown out. They basically did. But that did not disqualify them here. He thought it was going to, but the SEC losses definitely gave them some life.
Well, it's the SEC losses to the average teams, the teams that have been basically
middling at best.
Yeah, middling. You can't continue to pile up. Again, I screamed it last week a little bit. Wins have to eventually matter. You if a 9-3 team makes it in this year, it's just going to be one of those like, well, if you're a team that wins 10 or 11 games and you're left out, like, what the fuck can I do different? I literally won 80% of my games this year, and you're letting the team that won 70% of theirs in. So, that's all I can say about that. So it will be interesting as we go in. I think next week's is going to be a lot of fun. True.
Great point, Jason.
Unbelievable point, Jason. All right. One last piece I do want to hit up before we go to big screeners. I do not know if you aren't, you should follow Doug Bowman, who is with 247. Doug Bowman basically looked at the VT Board of Visitors meeting that they had, I think it was last week, in which Tim Sands basically stated the following. Athletic department is basically going to get a 1% budget increase in the next couple of years. Now, you sit here and say, that's 1 fucking percent. What the hell is that? Anybody know the annual budget for Virginia Tech or, any sort of big university like that? Anybody? Sheldon, you went there.
Athletics budget?
No, not athletic. Because it's the entire university budget. Right now, athletics gets 5%. Tim Sands is basically saying it's going to go to 6%. But do you know how big a budget is for the school in general?
I mean, at least 9 figures.
2.3 billion. So it's 10 figures.
11 figures.
Yeah. So 2.3 billion. And people are like, well, what's 1%? So roughly right now, the budget is like 125. It would probably go to close to 140 when that happens. The other thing that's sneaky about this, if y'all don't pay attention, go read that letter. Tim Sands is making a political move to potentially get the athletic fee higher. However you feel about that, and I know, Shelton, you went there. You had to pay that. That was part of your tuition every year. Not something you can never get back. But with a school of 30,000 people and the amount that they have to pay, if it hit the highest end, which would be $2,000, basically it would add an extra $32 million to the sports budget. So anybody in favor of $50 million extra dollars in the athletic department budget? Brian, you're being very quiet because I think he's about to give the take that we talked about.
Well, I'm of two minds because so let's go back in time a little bit. Let's go back to 2000. Let's talk about the enrollment boost of Michael Vick, of playing for the national championship. So let's talk about that, and then let's compare that to the product on the field and the idea that students should be paying more for that product. So it's the classic catch-22 because you need the money to be competitive. But if you're getting the money and you're still not competitive, you're going to have a backlash. We're already seeing that this season, right? You went full bore. We're talking about the NIL situation with basketball, and we see what that looks like. We saw it last night. We've seen it the last couple games. We see where the state of the athletic department is with NIL and how we went all in with football, and we're getting kind of basically the same results, right? So now you're talking about adding student fees onto that as part of essentially with budgets being commingled now between NIL and the athletic department budget. All of that could potentially go in towards paying players, whatever the athletic department needs at that given time. So I think if you don't see some success in the very near term with that strategy, there's going to be a backlash in enrollment. And I know that there's other states, other schools doing it, but I think from Virginia Tech's perspective, you're going to see some backlash.
Shelton, give me whatever you want to give me on this, man. Again, it's your alma mater. It's something you had to pay. It's something that's looked at. Obviously, parents are going to look at it. Kids are going to look at it.
Yeah, obviously, you guys know I'm a huge fan of college sports, and I want to see investment and see VT be competitive. But passing on the cost to the consumer is something I always have issue with, just because we're already paying for the tickets, the TV fees, and essentially subsidizing the entire athletic department. Now we've got to pay on top of that the NIL stuff. So and then potentially student fees. Adding student fees, which they can't do legally because VA has a set fee right now. But Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just think when you look big picture, obviously these college athletic departments have gone by decades without having to pay players. Now they've got to reinvest that money into the players, and it's created some budget shortfalls, and they've got to find a way to make up the money somehow. So I think Tim Sand's going to be good here. I know he's on the leadership council for D1, and I think he has a good understanding of what DT needs and how to manage the money. But I just think it's unfortunate that we are in a situation, like Brian said, where we're investing more than we've invested in decades, and the product has not changed at all. I also think that we're getting to a point now where it seems to me like investment in players is going to be more important than investment in coaches. But what does that look like in the intermediate? I mean, we don't know exactly. So lots of uncertainty for sure. But I would say that this is probably a time for the athletic department where they're trying to play things safe and be calculated and risk averse, so that they are set up well for the next stage of college sports, where we're now paying players, and it's a very much like a kind of a pro system. And I trust Witt and Sands' instinct on that particular front, but there's going to be I think it might get worse before it gets better. I guess I'll put it that way.
Yeah, we're in that kind of gray area too. And I mean, I know a lot of people, I think there's we saw from the poll, there's a small but vocal majority that very much want Whit Babcock out of the athletic department. And there's part of that subset that very much does not think that Sands cares enough about sports to follow through on the lip service that he's given. And I don't know where the reality of that actually is from a long-term perspective. But when I look at Virginia Tech football and I look at kind of where we were behind, I think the problem that Virginia Tech football has is that we were behind on overhauling our recruiting for so long. We were behind on a handful of the facilities things that I think needed to be in place maybe a little bit earlier. I know facilities are kind of falling out of favor in terms of major investment, but when you look at a locker room, and I know that's coming, but that's put us at a disadvantage, I feel like, from just meeting the minimum required level of Power 4 competitive advantage from that front. So I feel like we've been a little bit behind on those things, some of those cosmetic things that I think do have small influences over players. And now we're in a situation where we've got to weigh that, investing in staff, potentially overhauling a staff partially this offseason, with still fully investing in bringing in as many high-quality athletes as we can with NIL. And that's a tough place to be in.
It really is a tough place to be in. It is a changing landscape, something that really we have not seen in our lifetimes when it comes to this. And again, how they go about it really over the next 2 or 3 years is going to determine where Virginia Tech stands at the end of it. And, we can say, well, if the product isn't good, people are going to get sick and tired of it. But boys, I'll say this, take a look at some of the most passionate fan bases across this country. They don't have good teams. Look at Mississippi State, out there all the time screaming for their team, and they have not even been damn SEC championship game. Think about that. So how are you going to compete with that? How are you going to get upset and say, well, we need to just go ahead and start cutting all this stuff off? You really can't. That's my opinion. It might not be one that people like a lot. So kind of is what it is. All right, so let's move on, y'all, and let's get down 2 big screeners where it's always going to be a lot of fun. And for this week, pull it up, Brian. You didn't send me the score. I don't know who's winning. I don't know who's losing. Just know we're all out there floating around 500 somewhere. So if you bet with us, you might win, you might lose. That's all I'm going to say. But Brian, Where are you going on this one?
We're heading to College Station, baby. We are heading out there. A&M is a 6-point home dog to Texas. And you know what? I think Vegas got that about right. I think it's going to be about a touchdown win for the Longhorns. So give me Texas here.
All right. This is a massive game when it comes to really the playoffs implications. The winner of this game goes to the SEC championship. It is going to be Saturday night. It's going to be 112,000 people at Kyle Field. I like Texas A&M getting 6 points, but I don't think they're going to win. I think Texas is going to take this by a field goal, 31-28. Texas wins, A&M covers. Sheldon?
Yeah, I think Texas is going to smack them around a little bit. I think it'll be relatively close, but Texas will cover. I just don't like the way A&M is playing right now.
All righty. And I am on an island here.
On an island, baby.
Everybody else, Tally Miranda and Jason says hook 'em horns.
Where are we going, Curtis?
We are going to Athens, Georgia for a little clean, old-fashioned hate. Georgia Bulldogs, home team, getting 19.5 points versus Georgia Tech. And on this one, Georgia already locked into the SEC championship game, but I don't think they can ill afford to take an out-of-conference loss at 9-2. They cannot go 9-3. But Georgia Tech has fought everybody tooth and nail all year. The game last year was tooth and nail. The one thing I was looking at, and I want to see where it is because I got a feeling we're going to all stick on here, is I think Haynes King is going to play, which is pretty big for them. He's day-to-day, but I think 19.5 is too much. Georgia at some point has to decide probably to turn the Jets off, because what you do not want happening is somebody to break their leg or some serious injury happen. Give me Georgia Tech. It's 19.5. Georgia still wins, but closer than what the experts out in Vegas think.
Yeah, they got this one wrong to me. I think this is going to be about a 2-touchdown win for Georgia. I think Georgia Tech's going to keep it close. Georgia might pull away a little bit at the end, but I don't think it's going to be worth 3 scores there. So I want to take Georgia Tech as well.
Sheldon?
Yeah, I'm taking Georgia Tech also. I just don't trust Georgia's offense enough to really kind of beat them up that bad. And I think Georgia Tech, they've got enough talent to keep within 3 touchdowns.
That defense is going to keep them in the game. It's going to make it pretty close.
It really is. And Tally says Georgia Tech off the board. They have officially been cursed.
They got the kiss of death, man. The full BCP wagon here.
All righty. Let's go next down to Death Valley, Clemson, South Carolina. This is Tally's pick, y'all.
Oh, hang on. That's not the order we got.
I'm sorry.
Let's go.
Let's go to Shelton.
Let's go 15 miles that way.
We got a big time game this weekend in the Commonwealth. Lehigh playing Richmond in the first round of the FCS playoffs. For those who don't know, the FCS playoffs get started this weekend. Montana State is the 1 seed. They had an undefeated regular season, and they are number 1 in the FCS polls for the first time in 10 years. The usual behemoths of the FCS, North Dakota State is a 2 seed, and South Dakota State is a 3 seed. So it should be a pretty interesting field, I think. Richmond is a 9 seed, so they did get seeded. The top 12 teams have a seed. Some high hopes for the Spiders this year as they try to advance past the second round of playoffs. Last 2 seasons for Richmond, they have won their first round games by a total of 63 points. Their head coach is Russ Huseman, who was formerly at Chattanooga and is in his 8th season with the program. So good game. I think it'll be fairly close. The winner of this one will play Idaho all the way out in Moscow and head over to the Kibbe Dome next week for the second round. But with all that being said, I will take Richmond. I like how they played in the first round of the playoffs these last couple of years. I think they'll have no trouble putting away the Mountain Hawks, and they'll advance to Idaho next week.
You know what? I'm riding with Richmond as well. I gotta keep it local here and ride with the home team. Those Mountain Hawk, that logo is something. I like that thing though.
Some cool logo, cool logo. But the Spiders have always had a cool logo. My father-in-law's alma mater. Richmond easily wins this one. You said 33 points the last couple games, or 30, an average of 32. Give him 21.
Yeah.
And I think everybody is.
We cursed them again. We cursed them again.
If they lose,
Spiders going down. If they do, it's going to be on us.
Yeah. By the way, from Jason was like, kind of gamblers picking is kind of betting on this game. Well, he's got to understand Shelton's love for the FCS. By the way, let's just be honest. Wouldn't it be nice to get to 16? 16. Nobody gets a bye. There's no more conference championship games. It just starts next week. They play one, you skip one, you play one, you get to the bowls at home fields.
I'd be down with that.
I'd be sick as shit.
We'll get there eventually.
There we go. Eventually, yeah. It's more games, it's more money. Of course, we're going to get there eventually.
I think we'll get there once the full Power 4 whatever split, whatever the fuck that happens with that. Whenever that officially takes place, I think that's when we'll get the 16. But we'll see.
We will see. All righty, let's go next. This time we're going to Clemson, South Carolina, where it is the battle of the Palmetto State. Also a battle in my cousin's household. Wife loves Clemson. He went to South Carolina. Son goes to South Carolina. Mom loves Clemson. I don't want to be in that house. He's never invited me over down for Thanksgiving. I will never go down there because I do not want to sit through the fighting of this game. This is a big game in a lot of senses because we mentioned just a couple minutes ago, Clemson is the last team out. South Carolina, I think, I had it up here in my damn web browser crashed. South Carolina is like 15th. And people are thinking that South Carolina may be able to slip in the back door and get in the playoff. I do not think that is possible at all. But Clemson's also a sit and wait because Miami plays Syracuse. And what happens if Syracuse wins and beats Miami on Saturday? Y'all know, right? Y'all don't know?
Is that Clemson goes to the down to Charlotte?
Clemson goes to Charlotte if the Syracuse, they pull it off. So, Brian, what's your take on this one?
It's interesting. You talked about South Carolina. I will say this about South Carolina is that if there's a 3-loss team that makes it, it might be South Carolina.
Yeah.
The way it's lining up, right? So if there's a 3-loss team that makes it, South Carolina is going to be the one, but I don't think they get past the Tigers here. I think the Tigers roll. It's not going to be a big victory, but I think it's going to be about a touchdown win for the Tigers.
I am with you on this. 2.5 is not enough. I think South Carolina, it's going to be a competitive game. It probably is going to be an entertaining game. The game should not be at noon, which I think it is on Saturday. That's a bunch of garbage. It should be later in the day. But, I don't control the TV and where you put the games. Shane and the boys keep it close, but Clemson wins by 10. Give me 33-23.
Compounding the stakes, obviously, if Miami wins this upcoming week, Clemson won't be able to get another chance for winning the conference title game, which means, of course, that if the Tigers lose, their playoff hopes are very much in the balance. So big game. I think the team kind of knows, the expectations. They've dominated this rivalry the past decade or so, lost a couple years ago, so I think they'll be pretty focused to get that home win again. So I'm taking Clemson.
There we go. Tally, riding with Clemson as well. Miranda with the Cox.
Miranda, Ron, and Jason with there.
And
hey,
Jason.
Put up that Robbie message real quick.
Let me find it here. Hang on.
My cousin is T. He is going to be proud of you, Twizzler. Go Cox. Twizzler is a story. Maybe one day, maybe a state of the program gets told. What do you think, Robbie? Can we tell it one time?
We got about a month away, man.
It might happen this year, depending on how much I drink. The story of why Robbie is known as Twizzler to my cousin. All right, where are we going next? Who is the next one? Ooh, K-State and Iowa State is Miranda's game. And I have been trying to pull this up, but my computer over here has been a pain in the ass. So the Big 12 is in flux because it's like 4 teams with 2 losses, and this is a huge one on Saturday. So no team in the Big 12 controls their own destiny.
I will say the message that we're getting from the committee at this point is that, 4 teams from SEC or Big 10 are in before 2 teams from the Big 12. That's kind of the message. That's kind of the message we're getting right now, which is kind of wild, but that's kind of where we are in the process here. We'll see how it plays out over the next couple weeks.
All right.
But for this one, I'm rolling with Iowa State here. I think 3 at home isn't enough. If that was at 5.5, I'd probably still take it. I think this is going to be about a touchdown victory here for the Cyclones.
All right. Are you ready to hear the scenarios, Brian?
Yeah.
So watching Saturday. So if everybody wins, Arizona State, BYU, Iowa State, Colorado, Arizona State, Iowa State in the championship game. If exactly 2 of that group win, the 2 winners will meet in the Big 12 championship game. Okay?
Yep.
So
that makes sense. Yep.
That makes sense.
So you've ruled out the everybody wins or only 2 wins. Now give me the middle.
The middle, which is a shit ton. Arizona State, BYU, and Iowa State win, and Colorado takes the loss. Arizona State, Iowa State. Arizona State, BYU, Colorado win. Iowa State loses. Arizona State, BYU. BYU, Iowa State, Colorado win. Arizona State loses. Iowa State, BYU. All right, here we go. Last one. Arizona State, Iowa State, Colorado wins, and BYU loses. Could be either Colorado or Iowa State or Colorado, Arizona State. So they are really pulling for a BYU loss and everybody else to win. Then it comes Texas Tech has to beat West Virginia, Baylor has to beat Kansas, and Cincinnati has to beat TCU. If that's the case, Colorado, Iowa State. If Texas Tech wins and the other 2 or one of the other 2 lose, then it's Colorado, Arizona State. Everybody got that?
No.
By the way, I just want to let y'all know, though, but because we went to a playoff, things aren't as important anymore to lead into the season. The whole fucking Big 12 begs to differ. Dumbasses out there. Oh, I'm supposed to pick a game. Iowa State easily wins this one.
Sheldon, what you got?
Yeah, I think the Big 12 cannibalized itself a little bit, so I'm taking K-State. A big win last week for them. Iowa State, there's something about them I just don't trust them for whatever reason. So I think K-State wins.
All right, K-State wins. Okay, he's got K-State winning. I'm trying to find the one over here where Iowa State loses. Brian?
Tally's got Iowa State. Miranda's riding with Shelton. Jason's riding with us, buddy.
All right. So you want to see Arizona? You want to see the Arizona State BYU rematch, the Hail Mary that got caught at the 3-yard line? Somebody explain why you don't get end zone on that play. Oh man! Last but not least,
who would have seen this at the beginning of the season?
With Jason, it's a possibility. But who would have seen every other game that we pick has massive...
Oh, no, I'm talking about this line. Not the fucking game, but this fucking line.
No. Couldn't have that. Couldn't see that happen. 3.5 maybe, but not that big. But it's kind of funny. Jason comes over here and chooses this game, a massive line, and the only one that has nothing riding on it. Nothing matters in this game.
Nothing fucking matters in this game.
So go ahead.
This is for pride of Florida, baby.
Put us in a box. Go ahead. That just gives us something to break out of. Because the next generation 2025 GMC Terrain Elevation is raising the standard of what comes standard. As far as expectations go, why meet them when you can shatter them? What we choose to challenge, we challenge completely. We are professional grade. Visit gmc.com to learn more.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Welcome back to another week of Guitar Licks and Gambling Picks. It is rivalry week, and I wanted to send some good vibes down to Blacksburg for the Hokies. Hopefully they can finish the season off on a high note and get themselves bowl eligible. Unfortunately, Virginia does not allow you to bet on in-state games, so therefore I'm going to have to pick another game. And for that, I'm looking down to Florida, Tallahassee specifically, for the matchup between Florida and Florida State. Now, growing up, this used to be my favorite game of the year. Both of these teams used to be really good. They would usually be in the top 5, and the winner often went to the national championship game. None of that is true this year. However, Florida has turned things around quite significantly. They had a big win last week against Ole Miss. Florida State, however, is wrapping up what has to be called the season from hell. My guess is they want to end it as quickly as possible, and I think that's exactly what Florida is going to do to them this weekend. So therefore, I am taking Florida minus 13.5 on the road against Florida State. Which of course means I get another chance to play some Tom Petty. Well, let's go Gators, minus 13.5, and let's go Hokies. I'll see you all next week for championship week.
All righty. He's going Gators, laying a bunch of points. Brian, what are you doing?
I'm doing the exact same damn thing because Florida State cannot get out of their own way. Florida's really kind of looking a lot better in the last month or so. So feel a little bit confident about that. I think, 17 points sounds about right for that victory there. I think the Gators will take care of business.
I think 17's being nice and generous because
rivalry factors in there. But I get you. I think Florida State's quit.
All right. Florida State beat Charleston Southern 34-3 last Saturday. Charleston Southern was 1-9. 1-9. You know what the score was with about 2 minutes left in the first half? I sent it to you.
Yeah.
Did you see, Sheldon? It was 3-0.
Yeah.
Florida State. It was 3-0. Gators by at least 28.
I do think Florida State will come out more motivated than they have been in previous games, but I don't think they stand even remotely any sort of chance. I think Florida's a lot better than people think. They've obviously Billy Napier has been the subject of much criticism, but he's done a really good job turning that ship around, keeping things afloat. They've got a couple of really big wins these past 2 weeks, so I think Florida rolls easily.
Yeah, really good effort to keep that ship going because with some of the expectations attached to Florida just being Florida and kind of the way that season started off, they could have easily just kind of, checked out mid to late October, and they didn't do that. So kudos to them. Tally's riding with us as well. So is Miranda, and obviously we know what Jason's doing. So across the board here, taking Florida. Is this the kiss of death? I mean, that's 3 that we've.
That's 3. Put the big board up there. You always have it ready. Put the big board up there. Look at that.
So 3 across the board. We've got
2 islands.
Yeah, 2 islands.
And 4
then we
got
got
biggest pick against.
Yeah, 4-2 with Iowa State, K-State.
If you're betting with us this week, you're pretty much betting with everybody. We're all going to suffer the same fate one way or the other.
And I think these, like we said, most of these games have some stakes attached to them, except for the last one. And the last one's just a fun one to look at. You got a weird line in a rivalry game, but you got a team that, in Florida that's been playing a lot better, and you got a team in Florida State that's basically been checked out since the middle of October. So
it's true.
It's going to be kind of weird to see where that one goes, but it's a fun slate this weekend, I think.
I mean, it's always awesome to have Jason pull out the Telecaster and play some.
Yeah.
Awesome.
We hadn't got that all year. We've been mostly.
And you know what we found out though?
What's that?
You can play the Telecaster and record it for the live stream. It sounds great.
Yeah.
Your Tele sounds great, Jason.
Yeah. Keep that shit up.
Y'all got anything else y'all want to hit before we wrap this up and head into the most consumed alcohol day of the year?
Yeah, Wednesday, guys. So, I don't know if it's still this way, but when me and Curtis were coming up, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving was like one of those like just fun nights. You always ended up like waking up to a hangover, whether it's like high school or college coming home to visit. You wake up with a hangover. You smell the food starting to cook. You got to go down there and like nurse your hangover while you're helping out with food and getting the house ready for folks to come over. So it's a fun day. I hope everybody consumes responsibly tomorrow and Thursday if they plan on partaking with families. So just want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there, and we're gonna see if the Hokies can get bowl eligible this Saturday.
Sheldon,
go Hokies!
Go Hokies! Everybody out there.
Do we want to talk about this real quick? Do we want to talk before we wrap it up?
Matt Brown got fired today, but he gets to coach against NC State, and he gets to coach the bowl. He doesn't get to coach the bowl game.
Probably not. No. I think they left that undetermined, but more than likely, no.
I mean, it's not a shocker. I mean, it's surprised it didn't happen a couple years ago. So
it's surprised it didn't happen a couple years ago. It's surprising that it happened mid-season after they rolled into this season with sticking with him. I thought if they started the season with him, they were going to end with the season with him. All things considered, there. I mean, it's not quite the the graceful transfer of power here. Mac. For the. All the shit that I think we've given Mac, and we've given Mac a bunch of shit. I mean, he didn't have to come back to UNC and give this thing a go. So, kudos for the effort there. But it'll be nice having some of that recruiting not in our backyard again. We'll see what UNC pulls out of their ass in terms of their next head coaching hire here. But they're kind of one of the first. P4 teams out the gate looking for a head coach here rolling into the off season. So they have a pretty good position to be in from that perspective.
Yep. And the only thing, let me tell you, the first thing I did when I saw he was fired, I went to the UNC coaching page. Is anybody worth a shit here that we can hire? That's all I did. That is TBD'd.
Curtis said Mac Brown, consultant to the head coach.
He's never been that shitty of a game manager. Could help Price somewhat. I was also looking at position coaches too. It's just what I'm doing. Oh man, interesting. Put that up right there. That would be very interesting. All right, hour 46 in the books. We appreciate y'all watching. Everybody have a happy, safe Thanksgiving. If you drink, call an Uber, call a friend. Don't do that bullshit. We want y'all listening here next week. And as always, that wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner Podcast, brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg. I'm Curtis Wilson.
Brian Siegler.
And I'm Sheldon Moss.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Visit our website, boundarycornerbt.com, to listen to all of our episodes. Also, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, follow us. Also, YouTube account as well. Your favorite podcast sources. Make sure you can download us there. As always, Jason plays us in, plays us out, as he also plays a little tune to his gambling picks. Check out his website, jasonlongmusic.com, where it will link you to all of his sites to do it. Brian, one more time, who is our winner? Say it one more time.
Page Valley News.
Page Valley News, you are the winner. Please get in contact with us some way, somehow, some shape, some form.
They've actually got videos on YouTube, so I went ahead and threw a comment on one of the videos.
Awesome. All righty. We appreciate all y'all out there listening. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.
Popsicles, sprinklers, a cool breeze. Talk about refreshing. You know what else is refreshing this summer? A brand new phone with Verizon. Yep, get a new phone on any plan with Select Phone Trade-in and My Plan. And lock down a low price for 3 years on any plan with My Plan. This is a deal for everyone, whether you're a new or existing customer. Swing by Verizon today for our best phone deals. 3-year price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate only. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.